Senator Martins on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. And thank you very much for indulging us in reading the entire resolution. June 10th is celebrated as Dia de Portugal in the entire Portuguese diaspora around the world, and appropriately here in New York as well. The Portuguese communities in New York date back to the Revolution, with strong communities in Mineola, in Farmingville, in Brentwood, in Yonkers, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, Tarrytown, Ossining, Jamaica, Manhattan, and Brooklyn, among others. We have the privilege of calling this country home, and Madam President, as you know, I have the privilege of having had my parents immigrate from Portugal and being part of that culture. It's important that we continue to celebrate the diversity that is New York State, that through many we're able to actually create a culture all our own. The Portuguese people, as was said during the resolution, over 20 years ago legalized drugs, all drugs, and yet continues to have amongst the lowest drug usage rates of anywhere in the world. It's a peaceful country, having scored 4th in the World Index in Peace. It's great climate, great culture, and that is what we celebrate each and every year. Now, it's June 10th, which is some time from now, and we celebrate the history of a country that will celebrate its 880th year in just a month and a half. Again, amongst the oldest countries in the world because of its fixed borders, and frankly, there's a lot to celebrate there. But today is April 25th, and April 25th also marks a very important day, and I'm very proud to stand here because Portugal celebrates its Independence Day on April 25th. In 1974, there was a revolution in Portugal against the fascist regime, and there was what they call the Carnation Revolution. The Carnation Revolution because there were flowers placed in the rifles of the military as the people in Lisbon and across the country rose up and overthrew that fascist regime. And here we are, just 49 years later, it'll be 50 years next year, and continuing with the history of commitment to renewable resources, commitment to law and order, commitment to peace. In fact, Portugal has one of its own sons. The Prime Minister, former Prime Minister of Portugal, is currently the Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres. So it's that commitment to peace, that commitment to diplomacy as a means of finding solutions to the world problems, I think, that best defines Portugal today. So a country of 10 million people, Madam President, welcomes about 20 million people as tourists each and every year because of its culture, because of its climate, because of its people. And we had the privilege today of having with us the Consul General of Portugal, who's visiting Albany, Luisa Pais Low, who's here with her husband, Glyn Low. And I would just ask, Madam President, that as we recognize Dia de Portugal, as we recognize the 49th anniversary of the Independence Day in Portugal, and as we recognize the great Portuguese-American communities in New York State, that we actually take the opportunity as well to welcome these guests to our chamber and to extend the privileges of the House to them. Madam President, I vote aye. Thank you.